I'll never forget the day the entire neighborhood gagged at the smell of skunk drifting through the cul-de-sac. People stepped out of their houses covering their noses. Doors slammed shut. Kids shrieked. And right in the middle of it all, our HOA president Geraldine stumbled out of her garage blouse, stained hair wild, reeking of skunk spray. That was the moment everyone finally saw her for who she really was. Not a protector of the community, but the thief who'd been stealing from it all along. Act 1. The First Signs. My name's Preston Mallory, 39 years old. IT guy recently bought a townhouse in Plano, Texas. I thought moving here would be my big break from the chaos of city life. No more thin-walled apartments, no more landlords ignoring leaks, no more random street noise bleeding into my nights. Just peace order and a neighborhood where people waved from their porches. At first it seemed perfect. Gated entrance cameras at the entry points, retirees who basically acted like unpaid security guards. I thought finally I can breathe. But 3 weeks and 3 packages vanished off my porch. The first time I figured the delivery driver screwed up. The second time my stomach dropped. By the third time I knew something wasn't right. Tracking numbers said delivered even came with photos. There's the box on my doorstep at 3:17. But by 5:30, gone. I mentioned it to Owen, the old guy across the street, always out raking leaves or watering his grass. He leaned on his rake and lowered his voice. "You're not the first. Word is Geraldine's been seen walking off with boxes." I laughed, not because it was funny, but because it sounded insane. Geraldine. The HOA president. Owen just shrugged. Wouldn't shock me. She's got her hand in everything else. Geraldine Caffrey. Early 60s, sharp features, gray hair, always tucked neat blouse, pressed crisp clipboard in hand, like it was welded there. She wasn't just the HOA president, she was the HOA. Fines for trash cans left out lectures about lawn height, even rules on curtain colors. Half the block feared her, the other half tried to kiss up. I started watching. She circled the neighborhood like a hawk, always timing her walks, just as delivery trucks came through. Once I caught her standing in my yard inspecting my shutter's clipboard, scratching away. When I asked what she was doing, she launched into a lecture about paint shades like she owned my house. That's when Irene, the teacher who lived 2 doors down, quietly admitted she'd lost a few packages herself. Once she even saw Geraldine carrying a box into her garage. When Irene asked about it, Geraldine said she was keeping it safe. Except Irene never got it back. Victor, another neighbor, told me his golf clubs vanished. Weeks later, he spotted Geraldine's grandson swinging the exact brand new set in her backyard. When he asked, she swore she'd bought them second-hand. What could he do? Call her a liar in front of 30 neighbors? Piece by piece, the puzzle built itself. So I did what any reasonable guy would do. I filed a complaint, official professional dates, tracking numbers, no accusations, just facts. The HOA's response: a 1-line dismissal. HOA is not responsible for personal property. It's the homeowner's duty. Signed, G. Caffrey. That stung, but I tried one more time. I approached her directly while she clipped roses in her driveway. I sent an email about my packages, I said. She didn't even look up. As I explained, theft is a police matter, I pressed. So if someone's stealing from multiple homes here, you don't see that as your concern. Her lips tightened. I'd be careful about making accusations, Mr. Mallory. False claims can themselves be a violation. A threat wrapped in HOA language. I walked back inside, jaw clenched. She hadn't denied it. Not once. Act 2. The breaking point. I set up cameras. Mid-range, nothing fancy, but enough to keep eyes on my porch. Next delivery came, I checked the feed. Nothing. Box there 1 minute, gone the next. No thief, no footage, like it vanished into thin air. That night I sat on my couch, staring at the screen, muttering, "Am I paranoid? Is she untouchable?" For a moment I thought about giving up, selling the house, leaving the fight. Maybe that's what she wanted all along. But then Irene told me about the time Geraldine fined her $300 because her recycling bin was visible for 3 hours too long. Victor pulled out a notice about cracks in his concrete driveway. It was absurd. It wasn't just me. I realized I wasn't crazy. I wasn't alone. Everyone was suffering in silence. Still, I needed proof. That's when the cop I'd spoken to gave me the idea: set up a decoy package. At first I thought glitter bomb. I'd seen those viral videos. But glitter was too harmless. Geraldine had been humiliating people for years with her clipboard and her fake smile. I needed something she couldn't brush off, something unforgettable. Then I remembered the skunk. 2 weeks earlier, one had sprayed near my garage and the smell lingered for days. You couldn't scrub it out, couldn't air it away. It stuck like shame. That was it. I bought a live trap from a feed store, baited it with peanut butter. By dawn, I had my unwilling accomplice, black and white fur, shifting inside the cage, tail flicking. "Sorry, buddy," I whispered. "You've got a role to play." I set the cage inside a big cardboard box, poked air holes, lined it with newspaper, taped it shut, slapped on a sticker, "Fragile handle with care." When I set that box on my porch, my heart pounded so loud I could hear it in my ears. I angled my camera perfectly, sat by the window pretending to read, eyes glued to the street. 3 o'clock sharp. Geraldine appeared. Clipboard tucked under her arm, loafers clicking. She stopped halfway, scanning like she always did, then her eyes locked on the box. I barely breathed. She glanced around. No one outside. Then she strode up my steps, scooped the box into her arms, and walked briskly toward her garage like she was performing a good deed. I whispered, "Got you." Minutes later, the silence shattered. A clang of metal. A scream, sharp, panicked, not her usual clipped tone, but raw. And then, the smell. It hit the cul-de-sac like a wave, thick, sour, choking. I burst out laughing, weeks of frustration spilling out all at once. Neighbors opened their doors, fanning the air, groaning. "What in the world?" Someone coughed. Kids pinched their noses. Victor shouted, "Smells like somebody ticked off a skunk." And then Geraldine stumbled out. Her blouse stained her hair, wild arms flailing, gagging like she could fan the stink away. Her precious clipboard clattered onto the driveway. Her eyes found mine. Fury, embarrassment, disbelief. "You!" she screamed, pointing straight at me. I just folded my arms and called out, calm as ever, "Everything okay over there, Ms. Caffrey?" Gasps rippled. Neighbors saw it all, her carrying the box, her drenched in humiliation. The power balance shifted right there. For the first time, Geraldine wasn't the enforcer. She was the spectacle. Act 3. The Fall. A few days later, she called an emergency HOA meeting. She stood at the front, still trying to hold herself together, though the faint stench seemed to cling to her no matter how much bleach she used. She declared the skunk box a criminal act of harassment. She called me reckless, dangerous. I let her finish, then stood. "With respect, Ms. Caffrey, the real question is, why were you taking a package that wasn't yours?" The room went silent. Victor piped up from the back. "Yeah, funny. I thought you said the HOA doesn't handle theft. So why were you in his garage?" Laughter broke through. Irene raised her hand. "So you admit you took the box?" Geraldine snapped back. "I was safeguarding it." "No," I said louder, my voice steady but sharp. "You were stealing it, and you've been doing it for years." That cracked the dam. Residents started speaking up. "I lost gardening tools last spring. My daughter's birthday gift disappeared." Voices stacked one after another, each one exposing her tighter. Geraldine barked, "This is slander." I leaned forward, locking eyes. "No one's slandering you. We're telling the truth you tried to bury." Her face went crimson. She slammed her clipboard on the table like a gavel, then stormed out, heels clicking, the door banging shut behind her. The room erupted, whispers, laughter, outrage. But one thing was clear, her reign was done. A petition spread like wildfire. Within days, the majority signed to remove her as president. At the final vote, it wasn't even close. Geraldine, the queen of fines and threats, the woman who ruled with a clipboard, was dethroned. And that's where my story ends. Not with balloons, not with a barbecue, but with the sight of her storming out of the room, stripped of her power, neighbors finally standing tall. Final line. Sometimes all it takes is one act of defiance to break years of fear, and once the truth is out, it can't be taken back.